Let's start with this easy function where you count the frequency of a specific letter in a string. For example, they give us hello world, let's say string const string equals to hello world. They ask for the letter L. How many times did L, let's change this to text and this to const. How many times L is repeated inside hello world? The hint is we have to use the for loop. Now, how does for loop works? Well, it seems pretty easy. For loop is like for, then we have let I equals to something 0. I is, so long I is smaller than 10, for example, I plus plus, then we say console.log I. Now if we do this, we probably do not have much inside our, yeah, we have 0, 1, 2, 3 until 9. So how does it work? Well, first we assign a variable called I, which is equal to 0. So that's the first thing. Then we say so long I is smaller than 10, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Increment I. This plus plus means increment in JavaScript or many other programming languages. So loop is like this. We start from somewhere, that's our base. Here our base is 0 and we introduce 0 as a variable. We say like we set a condition, so this is base case, this is condition, this is process or function. So our base case is 0, so long our condition if 0, so long our variable is smaller than 10, our process or function is increment I, so our loop is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How do we use this loop to hello world? Well, if we do like hello world now, for example, we say const text equals to hello world. If we console.log like text in the position of I. Now, one thing about string in JavaScript is basically dealt with it like an array. So you can loop through it, do almost anything. You can index, it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we have a base case of 0. So long the base case is smaller than 10, increment. And here we say like we want text this in the position of I. Now, since this works like an array, this represents 0, this represents 1. So let's see what do we have here. Now if we go back to our, let me do this. We have HELL 2LO space WORL. So we don't have D and we don't have the sign. If you want to have D and this sign, if you want the loop to go through the entire thing, what we do is we say like, oh, go up until I is smaller than text.length, because we said string inside JavaScript is just like array, so we can share the length. And now if we do it again, we see D. And just to be like more clear about this, we can do what we can say like I text I. So this I represents 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up until text.length, and this represents HELO. So if we do this now, we see 0H, 1E, 2LL, 3, things like that. Like basically we have the index and we have the text. But how do we use it to find the occurrences of L inside hello world? Well, for that we better introduce a function. So we say function count occurrences equals to, first we have a string, then we have a character. I think function we do not have this. Yeah. So we can introduce our loop. Let I equals to 0, I smaller than string.length. So wherever we want this to be reusable. So we don't give it like a constant or something like const text or something. We say like any string that we are given, like compared to that string, then I++. Well, here's the thing. In JavaScript, this for loop cannot return much. It can modify things, but it does not return things. But we will talk about it a bit later. However, how this helps us now is we have a string, we have a character, and we want to know how much the character is repeated inside the string. So we set a conditional. If string in the position of I. Now we said like if this is, for example, hello world, string in the position of I, we showed like this is string in the position of I starts with HELO, something like that. So if HELLO is equal to char, now this char could be O, could be L, could be anything, then let's for now just console.log string in. Let's console.log like I, then string in the position of I, str actually in the position of I. Let's call count occurrences hello world, and let's do O. Now if we do this, we see we have O at position of 4 and position of 7. Now position of 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, O, 5, 6, 7. So it's correct, we have I. How do we return this? Well, in loops we cannot return things in traditional loops. So what we can do, we can assign a value to count to be 0 at first. So now this is count. Here what we do, we say count ++. So basically whenever the string in the position of I is equal to the character, whenever O is equal to anything in the position of I here, increment this count by 1, and of course at the end we have to return count. This does not show anything because we basically have the function performing, but we haven't logged anything. To log it, we could say like console.log this, and we see that we have 2 O's. How about L? We have 3 L's. How about Z? We have 0 Z. And you can just basically play with it like O and do O. We have 13 O's now. So what this means basically, as we said, like if we do loop like I smaller than 10, I++ incremented, it works like 0, 1, 2, 3. But when we make it an index, like we have the base case is 0. So long the base case is smaller than the length of this string that we have incremented, then we say like give us the string in the position of this base case incremented. It gives us something like this, HELLO world. And if we perform like something like, well, our condition is I smaller than the string dot length instead of like 10 or 9, then we'll get the entire like loop or string that we have. So that's how loops work. I hope like this will be a good starter point for you to understand like how traditional for loop works in JavaScript. We basically have a base case, a condition, a perform, an action, then we modify something here, usually the array or string that was given to us, and if we have to change something, usually we change it, we announce before the loop starts.